Welcome back to 13 News Now at noon. Listen, you may know him from a lot of things. We're talking shows like Sister Sister, the It movie series, but actor, producer, and director Tim Reid has another project up his sleeve. Staying busy, I tell you. He joins us here this afternoon to tell us about the one-man show. First of all, honored to have you here, sir.
Well, thank you. My pleasure to be here.
You know, your career, I mean, it's like multi-generational. It depends on who you're talking to, how they remember you from being on their TV screens. I have to ask you, before we get into One Man Show, do you have a highlight from your career?
No, I'm, gosh, highlight. I've had so many. It's hard to say that one, but I think just the fact that I've been fortunate enough to be on television back-to-back for about 15 or 16 years in one series to another is the highlight. Frank's Place is probably the show that's closest to my heart in terms of creativity and writing and producing. But other than that, it's been a hell of a ride. That's all I can say.
I'm telling you, it's been so cool to watch just from a distance, not just, you know, what we see on the screen, but there's so many ties that you have to Hampton Roads. I mean, from the beginning of a career and now where we are. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Well,
I think that's why I'm back, I wanted to do a show to not only thank this area, now it's called the 757.
Right, that's right.
But so much of who I am started here. You know, they always say your character is shaped by the time you're 21, 22 years old. Well, that's when I left here. So everything that I am started with the character that was driven into me, sometimes shouted into me by the elders and by those wise people who are now ancestors and at that university. It was different back then, you know. The teachers didn't have anger management. They would just come at you.
Right.
So they would challenge you, and those challenges, those butting heads with these people at a level that I respected, helped me survive in Los Angeles and Chicago and all those places that I've been. I travel the world.
You know, you've done so much here, too. I've had the chance to see you, maybe even from a distance, at so many events across Hampton Roads. You've helped so many people launch their careers, get into the business, understand it. What advice do you have for the next generation?
Gosh, it's hard to tell these knuckleheads because they are so influenced by social media. People sitting around in their basements telling the world what to think and what's right, what's wrong, as opposed to being out in the world, learning through the process, the hard way, experiencing those defeats and still rising. You can read about it. Toni Morrison talks about it. Nikki Giovanni talks about it. I'm happy to see that some young people are taking on James Baldwin. James Baldwin is a most important historical character and ancestor. And he says something that I use is this part of my life as the first thing I think about is know who you are. And one of the reasons I'm back here is I want people, especially here, my friends and the university, to know that who I am started here. And no matter where I've been in the world, I think back often. You know, sometimes I'm standing in front of a major piece of art, you know, Venus de Milo or Night Watch, and I think, back here in art appreciation, I remember the teacher shouting at me saying, stay awake, look at these slides. Well, it's hot as, I don't know what in the room. We had no air conditioning back then. And we were sleeping and he'd wake us up. Look at this, your dreams will take you to the real thing. And every time I stand in front of the real thing, I think back to his voice. And I go, wow, he was right.
And I feel like so much of that is just a glimpse of One Man Show, because it really is about your career and your life.
It's about my career, but also the experiences. I consider myself to be like a black Forrest Gump. I always find myself in the strangest and most unusual situations with people. You know, I was thinking this morning, I was thinking about the show, what are some of the things I wanted to show as well as talk about. And I realized that I'd done a movie with James Earl Jones. And there's a scene that he and I have that I had forgotten. I haven't even seen the movie but once. And I'm thinking, I worked with James Earl Jones. In a scene. I mean, coming from here. The odds of that, get out of here. Play the lottery, you have better luck.
Play the lottery. Oh my goodness, One Man Show with Tim Reid coming out very, very soon. Make sure you check this out. That was just a glimpse. There's so much more, but you got to go see the show. Sir, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and it's this Friday.
this Friday, 7:30.
7:30, Brown Hall.
Brown Hall. Check that out. We'll be right back.